Spring training is well underway, and that means it's time to continue my bold prediction series. If you didn't see the first part of this video, I made one bold prediction for every American League team, so this is going to be the National League teams today. If you didn't watch the first part, go watch it. With that being said, let's start out with the NL East and start out with the New York Mets. We're starting out hot with the New York Mets, with Francisco Lindor winning the Platinum Gold Glove for the National League. Lindor has won 2 Gold Gloves so far through his career and a Platinum Glove already, so this might not be the boldest prediction of all time, but I really like Francisco Lindor's defense going into the season, and I think he has a pretty good chance of being the best defender in the National League. So I think he could win the Platinum Glove. Let's predict that. For the Atlanta Braves, I have Chris Sale, Max Fried, and Charlie Morton all bounce back, making them the strongest rotation in baseball, with, of course, Spencer Strider leading the way. The 3 starters that I mentioned, other than Spencer Strider, are kind of on the downward decline in their careers, so it'll be a little interesting to see if they all manage to bounce back. However, everything I've heard from Chris Sale through spring training is really positive, and I think Charlie Morton and Max Fried are good enough to be able to bounce back, especially Max Fried because he's pretty young still. Spencer Strider, I think, is going to be a top 2 pitcher in baseball, so I think that the Braves just have an extremely underrated rotation that really could be one of the best in baseball. I'm predicting that it might be the best in baseball by the end of the year. For the Philadelphia Phillies, I have Zach Wheeler comes top 3 in NL Cy Young. Now, Zach Wheeler's on a contract year, which in the past has been really good for Zach Wheeler. He pitched very well in his 1 contract year earlier in his career, so I think he could do it again, and Zach Wheeler is a much better pitcher now than he was back then. Like I said, I think Strider might be number 1 in the National League Cy Young, but I think Zach Wheeler has just as good of a chance of anyone as being 2 or 3, so give me that. Let's predict it. For the Washington Nationals, I have that they'll continue their solid second half that they had in 2023 and finish ahead of the Miami Marlins in the division standings. I think Miami's coming last place and the Nationals are coming 4th. There were a couple of guys like Lane Thomas and CJ Abrams that really proved that they could play baseball. I expect the next step from Keibert Ruiz and Josiah Gray as well, and if all that happens, I think they might be a better team than the Miami Marlins. I really do. And the reason why I think that Miami might come last place is because I'm predicting that the Miami Marlins are going to have the lowest runs per game in MLB, which is going to make them come last place. Miami's pitching is definitely legit, especially their starting pitching. I think their bullpen could use a little help, but their starting rotation is one of the best in baseball. However, I really don't think that their offense is going to put up any runs whatsoever. They lost Jorge Soler and really haven't replaced him whatsoever, and I don't think that they're nearly good enough to compete or score runs, especially in that division. Chicago Cubs fans have definitely been mad at me in the past, and they're going to be mad at me again today because I'm saying Justin Steele is going to have a sophomore slump and have a 4+ ERA. Look, I could be totally wrong with this. There really isn't even much underlying metrics. This is just kind of a gut feeling, and sometimes that's what you have to do with these bold predictions. They're not bold predictions if there's a million stats that are pointing towards it. That's the thing. People are gonna say, oh, well, what stat? There is no stat. The reason why I think it's gonna happen is just because I think it's gonna happen. If it doesn't happen, oh well, it was a bold prediction. I really like Justin Steele, and I think he's gonna have a really solid career, but I think next year he might be figured out just a little bit more, and he's gonna struggle a little bit compared to his rookie season. He could still have like a 4.1 ERA, which isn't terrible. I just don't think he's going to be in the NL Cy Young race this year. It's not really that much of an insult to him, it's just how these things work sometimes. For the Cincinnati Reds, I have that they are going to make the wild card series and also win that series before losing in the NLDS. I think people are pretty high up on the Reds this year, and I am too, but I think I might be a little higher than most when I predict that they are actually going to win a wild card series. Again, I don't know if this is going to happen. It's just a prediction. It's just something that I want to throw out there because I believe in the Reds. I believe in a lot of their rookies like Elly De La Cruz, of course, and Matt McClain. Those kind of guys heading into their sophomore season with a little experience under their belt, I think that they might be good enough to make a little run. I think that they're going to win a playoff series in 2024. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, I have a good prediction for O'Neal Cruz. He might have missed almost all of 2023. However, I think he's going to hit 30 home runs and steal steal 30 bases while winning the NL Comeback Player of the Year. I think he's going to be joining the 30-30 club. We know O'Neal Cruz hits the ball harder than anyone in baseball. I'm pretty sure he still has the hardest hit baseball in StatCast history, and he is an incredibly fast base runner. Now, predicting that he's going to get 30 stolen bases might be a little bit harder considering he only has 13 career stolen bases in 98 career games. However, in his 9 games in 2023 with the bigger bases where stolen base rate went through the roof, he stole 3 bases and he only had 6 singles. So he was stealing about half of the time and he didn't get caught stealing. So I think that there's a chance that he could get 30 bags. He's fast enough. So let's just see if he's given the green light to really steal this year. Who knows? Okay, so this might be the boldest take out of any of the 30 takes I have in both videos, but I think that the Brewers are going to come last place in the NL Central. I think that they're the worst team in the Central. They lost Corbin Burns, and Brandon Woodruff is not pitching in 2024. Also, their offense just isn't good enough. It hasn't been for a while. William Contreras is a good player. Christian Yelich bounced back a little bit last year. That helps them out a lot. And Willy Adames is probably their best player, and I think he's still on the trade block, so who knows if he's even gonna stay. Along with that, they also lost Craig Counsell, who I really think is an amazing manager and is seriously gonna hurt the production of that team. I want to throw some crazy predictions out there because I feel like there is a chance that it could happen. Brewers are last place after coming first. And finishing out the NL Central, I have the St. Louis Cardinals, of course, and I'm saying the opposite of the Brewers. I think they're gonna go from last place to first place in the NL Central. It might seem a little stupid to have the first and last place teams swapping positions, but I think that it could happen. The Cardinals definitely underperformed last year. They have a really solid bullpen, pretty solid offense, and they've definitely bolstered the rotation, even if it's not the greatest rotation in baseball still. They have a lot of veteran starters, which are going to give them innings and help them out just a little bit. Somebody like Lance Lynn could bounce back to being a decent starting pitcher, but he's not going to be the all-star caliber that he once was. But if Sonny Gray doesn't have that high market struggle thing go on, he's probably going to continue to be a good pitcher. So I don't know, I really like where the Cardinals are heading into this season. Like I said, they just have that really decent offense led by Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, and I just believe in those guys too much to think that they're not gonna run away with this division again. The division is still pretty weak in my opinion, and I think that the Cardinals are gonna take it. Give me the Cardinals going from last to first. For the Los Angeles Dodgers, I gotta say it, Shohei Ohtani is going to struggle a little bit in his first year in Dodger blue. I just can't see him having the best year of his career. And when I say struggle, I mean relative struggle. I don't mean he's going to be a bad baseball player like he was in 2020. I think he's still probably going to be an all-star. He's still probably going to hit 35 homers. I just think he's going to be down on his career averages, and he's just not going to be as good as we've seen him the past 3 seasons because he just needs some time to get comfortable. It's not even a knock at him. It's honestly not that bold. I think that Shohei is going to be a little slow in his Dodger debut. Although he did homer in his first game of spring training, I know, whatever. I still think he's going to be down just a little bit in his first year in Dodger blue. For the Giants, I have that they're not going to be very good at baseball. However, they are going to have one bright spot, and that's going to be Marco Luciano, who wins NL Rookie of the Year. Marco Luciano definitely did not have the greatest start to his MLB career. He really struggled in his first 40 at-bats. However, a 40 at-bat sample size is essentially nothing, so should it be completely discredited? No, but should it be discredited a good amount? Yes. He's a top prospect for a reason. I think he's going to prove that he is a top prospect, and I think that the Giants are just going to struggle. I really don't like their offense that much. I don't like the way it's constructed very much, and I really don't like their rotation at all right now, apart from, of course, Logan Webb. They also lost their pitching coach, who's one of the best pitching coaches in the league, and that's going to hurt them. For the Colorado Rockies, I have that Nolan Jones gets at least one MVP vote. That might sound kind of crazy. I know. I think that Nolan Jones is a good enough player to get an MVP vote. I really do. If you give me Coors Field for a full season with Nolan Jones' arm, Nolan Jones' power, and just Nolan Jones' bat talent and fielding ability, I'm saying he's going to get an MVP vote. But I think he's going to be around an 820 to 850 OPS with 25 to 30 homers and probably lead the league in outfield assists again. I think that that's good enough to get you at least like a 15th place MVP vote. So I think he's going to get one for being a very good baseball player this year. For the San Diego Padres, I have that Fernando Tatis Jr. runs away with the NL MVP. Maybe not unanimous, but he's gonna get like 22 to 23 first place votes. His defense in right field is spectacular. His offensive numbers were down big time compared to his career average last year. However, it was his first time playing baseball after almost missing 200 games. So I think now that he had those 100 games last year and he has the full off season, he has the full spring training, and he's completely healthy going into the season, I think we're gonna remember what Fernando Tatis Jr. can really do on a baseball field. He'll probably be one of the best defenders in baseball again at right field. He's probably gonna hit like 45 homers, and he's probably gonna have like 40 stolen bases. He could even join the 40-40 club, honestly. He's that good. He's gonna prove why he was the face of baseball before that suspension, I believe. And the final bold prediction is the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I haven't mentioned a World Series winner yet, and that's because I think it's going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks. Their offseason was amazing. After having a miraculous World Series run in 2024, they had one of the best off seasons in baseball by far, probably only second to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I think that they have a really good chance of making it back to the World Series and this time winning it, because I think that the NL is much stronger than the AL this year. Give me the Diamondbacks going back to the World Series and this time getting a ring. So between the two videos, that's all 30 teams getting a bold prediction for them. If you missed the first video, make sure you go back and watch it. And if you enjoyed this one, subscribe and like, and I will see you in the next video.